Up next, a former Israeli soldier who says this isn't the best way forward. The death toll is soaring as Israel rains missiles on Gaza. Its military says there will be no break in the bombing unless Hamas releases the hostages taken in Saturday's rampage on Israel. The result is a humanitarian disaster and a warning. This next footage is disturbing. This was video taken this morning following an Israeli airstrike. Men dug a lifeless body from the rubble and could be seen rushing him away on a stretcher. In Gaza, health authorities say about 1,500 are dead. Israel says more than 1,300 people have been killed there since Saturday. Benzi Sanders is the Jerusalem program director at Extend, a group that introduces diaspora Jews to grassroots leaders fighting for democracy in communities across Israel-Palestine. Mr. Sanders also previously served in the Israel Defense Forces, including a deployment in Gaza. Benzi Sanders, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for having me.
The latest information we have is the Israeli military says it's dropped about 6,000 bombs already on Gaza and more than 1,400 people have been killed in that area. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is promising to wipe Hamas off the face of the earth. What are your thoughts on Israel's military response so far?
Well, I'll start just by saying that like so many people, Israelis and Palestinians, this is a devastating time. I've lost so many of my friends have lost loved ones in the brutal massacres carried out by Hamas against the communities on the border. And I'm furious at my own government for allowing us to get into this situation. Hamas was considered to be an asset by senior members of this coalition, including Netanyahu. And personally, I've been affected by and invested in changing Israeli policy against Gaza and Hamas since 2014, when I served in the IDF. And I was deployed into the Gaza Strip during Operation Protective Edge. And some of the images and reports, like what you were just describing of the hundreds and hundreds of casualties and massive bombing campaigns, have reminded me of what I saw as an IDF infantry soldier, walking into the Gaza Strip by foot. We were told basically, the civilian areas that we were going into were empty. The only people who were there were Hamas fighters, and that was largely true, but it wasn't entirely true. I saw civilians who did remain and who did end up getting killed by IDF fire. In one of the neighborhoods I was in, there was even an entire family who had stayed behind in the neighborhood. They were the only family who had stayed behind, and even though we were going into houses with live fire, we decided soldiers in my unit didn't end up killing them. In fact, they took over the house, provided them with food and water, and kind of just kept engaging from a distance with Hamas, who succeeded in shooting missiles and injuring and killing soldiers from my unit. But as soon as we pulled out of the neighborhood, the IDF, the Israeli Air Force, just flew over that neighborhood and bombed it, almost wiping it out. Like I said, images that are reminding me of what we're seeing now, I saw already in 2014.
Right.
And they wiped out that family who had been under our control for a few days.
Well, it appears it appears the IDF is preparing for a ground offensive into Gaza yet again, and you've said that that would only serve to strengthen Hamas. Why do you say that?
So, I mean, I think that given the fact that this government has no vision for a future in which Israelis and Palestinians can live together side by side, it is intentionally working to undermine the creation of a Palestinian state, intentionally working to undermine any future in which Palestinians are not dominated by Jews, by Israel. Um, this invasion, this bombing campaign will only serve to strengthen Hamas. The same way the campaigns that we've done against Hamas over and over again have brought us to this point. I think that it doesn't have to be that way. I think that fighting against Hamas has carried out these horrifically brutal massacres, and they are a source of evil. But in order to defeat them, there is no military solution. And to me, when I see these images, it looks like we're not going just after Hamas. We're also punishing the Gazan civilian population, which are two separate things. And I think that we're not giving them enough differentiation.
So Benzi, as you say, you've been deployed to Gaza in the past. Though there is some sense that what is happening now is escalated from the other conflicts of recent years. What can you tell us that IDF soldiers will be walking into, if they go ahead with this ground invasion of Gaza?
Well, listen, we're really on in uncharted territories. I mean, just the massive amounts of casualties that Israel has suffered, both IDF soldiers, soldiers from the unit that I served in, and so many hundreds and hundreds of civilians, that it's hard to imagine that the response, if there is a ground invasion, and it certainly seems inevitable, is going to be limited in scope the way the protective edge invasion was. So, I think that there will be a more aggressive urban combat, and based on what I saw and on what the casualties were, both on the Israeli side and on the Palestinian side, during those weeks of the protective edge that I participated in, I just think that there's going to be more and more bloodshed, and that's especially to me infuriating, because it will not result with this current government and their stated objectives in leading to any type of actual real defeat for Hamas. If there's no or the ideas that animate Hamas, if we don't pursue a solution which involves Palestinians and Israelis living next to each other with self-determination and basic rights, both people having equal and basic rights, then this is just going to strengthen Hamas, and the bloodshed will not accomplish anything.
Benzi Sanders, I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for speaking with me today.
Thank you.